All right, this webinar should now be streaming on Facebook. Hello,
Okay.
everyone. We're just getting set up for our sustainable cooking class with Chef Julie of the Doral Yard. Oh, cool. Our attendees are automatically admitted. We normally have a waiting room, but we actually had to switch to webinar mode for this event instead of the general Zoom meeting because of some incidents with Zoom bombers. So unfortunately, attendees, you cannot have video. Hopefully one day in the future we can bring that back. But really excited to have this sustainable Thanksgiving cooking class with you guys. I know I personally haven't really taken strides to make my Thanksgiving more sustainable personally. So I definitely have a lot to learn from Julie and from planning this event as the rest of you guys might do. So we've got 10 attendees so far. We actually had a really solid RSVP level, I guess, if that's the word, of 53 people. So I'm going to give it a couple more minutes before we dive into the intro. But I'm here with Julie, and she is in Della's kitchen to give us our amazing cereal. And
I know, what are the chances of that? I'm actually in Della's kitchen cooking this class today. So you get like the double whammy.
Yes. And she has inspired me to also participate. Normally I kind of just follow along for these events. And I was like, no, I'm going to do at least one. So I'm going to be making the cauliflower dish that was featured in the event page. So I'm also going to be cooking with you guys.
Yay.
But, yeah. Is this an okay pan? Do I want a bigger pan?
It's kind of small. Yeah. Yeah. So these ones are they're a little small for me, but this is like 10-inch maybe that I think will be good for you. And then there's like a little bit higher of a side one.
Okay, awesome.
We actually just realized a couple minutes ago that we did not have the right size pan. So Della made a run over to the Doral Yard and got these nifty pans. Okay. Yes, she was very close. Yes. It's very convenient.
Awesome. Yeah, I guess I could start with kind of introductions because we'll just kind of chat a little while people sign on before we dive into the recipes to give people a second to tune in. But to introduce myself, my name is Maddie Kaufman, and I'm the Program and Outreach Director at Debris Free Oceans. So I manage a lot of our major programs, which for those of you who aren't familiar, we do a lot of education is one of our main programs. So if you guys are any teachers, we're happy to come and present at your high school or middle school. Honestly, any age we have curriculum prepared for, which I personally revamped during COVID, and it's really awesome and engaging and beautiful slides. So definitely hit me up. We also do sustainability consulting, which we have. So we work with businesses to reduce or eliminate plastics from their operations. And we've actually done this with Julie at previously the Wynwood Yard and now the Doral Yard, where we encourage people to bring back reusable cups, and they get you get a little bit of money back if you use a reusable cup, programs like that. And then we obviously do a lot of ocean and beach cleanup events to educate people and also help them be a part of the solution and show what a problem it kind of is. But we always prioritize making them fun. So we'll do scuba cleanups, kayak cleanups, yoga cleanups. If you guys have a creative idea, let us know. We like to involve alcohol. Yes, Julie.
Maddie, just really quick on the kid side of things. You guys have done several Earth Day presentations for my kids' school over the years. And as a mom, aside from, our programming that we've done, that's been really fun. As a mom, I really appreciate what you guys have taught the kids. And so for all the parents out there, definitely recommend their presentations.
Thank you. I thought you were going to put your hands and bring up the bar crawl.
We can talk about that now.
I was also going to say we like to bring alcohol to have fun and entice more people to join that wouldn't necessarily sign up for cleanup. And so we've done wonderful bar crawl pickups with Julie in the past, where we will partner with different businesses around Wynwood, and we'll crawl from the Wynwood Yard to our house, to Coyo Taco, a whole bunch of different businesses, and get really tasty snacks, and then also get our reusable cups refilled and pick up trash.
Yeah, Box Elder and Winwood Brewing and all the good breweries around there. Gramps, remember that one? Zach the Baker. We've hit up some really good spots.
Some amazing spots. Honestly, I miss those so much. And we'll pick up trash from the streets before it gets into the storm drains, which is super important. But anyways, I'm rambling. I also just coordinate kind of lifestyle events, which we've taken virtually during the pandemic, but it's been really cool because it's helped us start to branch out and educate people about more innovative ways to be sustainable and reduce their waste, which really starts from things you can do from home. And it's ways that we can spend our little quarantine time to improve ourselves and kind of pick up new hobbies and new habits. So we've done some eco-fashion webinars, some composting webinars, which kind of has to do with tonight's event about sustainable food and Thanksgiving. But today we're talking about making Thanksgiving more sustainable, because I've mentioned this when we did our little live preview, but waste goes so much more beyond plastics and trash. Food waste is a huge issue. I pulled up some stats from our other event because I didn't do slides because I'm trying to hold myself back from making too much of an educational talk. But it is important to note that according to Feeding America, we waste $218 billion worth of food each year, which is astounding. So our event today will most likely have no waste. And if there is waste, we can compost it. And that's really important because when food waste ends up in the landfill, it actually emits methane, which is a really potent greenhouse gas. And that's another form of waste. Like greenhouse gas emissions are waste. It's the byproduct of a process that we do that we don't use for any other purpose. So get creative when you guys are thinking about waste, when you're doing stuff around your house. And thanks for signing up for this event where we're going to think about waste in those ways and reduce them by having a really fun, awesome cooking class. So that being said, I think I'm done ranting. I'm really excited to introduce Julie. She's a good friend of mine and I haven't seen her in a while, so it's great to see you virtually again. She is the Director of Culinary and Community at the now Doral Yard and also at Della. So not only is she a chef, she coordinates really cool community events like our bar crawls that we used to have, but also other initiatives at the kind of community spaces at the Doral Yard. So with that, Julie, I'd love for you to introduce yourself. And I know we've talked about kind of what Thanksgiving means to you. And I'm sure people would kind of love to hear that story real quick because Thanksgiving is weird this year, but it doesn't mean we don't have to reflect and kind of celebrate how we do and kind of recognize what the holiday means to us, even if we can't be with everyone that we really want to be. So I'm done talking.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Maddie, for kicking this off. I do just want to touch on one thing that you were saying before I forget, in terms of like thinking about food waste. And I don't really have any like plastic to show you guys today, but something that really falls into that sustainability with food was like always thinking about the packaging that things come in. And so every time you're shopping for like food or drinks or anything that you're using, or, you know, please don't use plastic forks when you eat or things like that. Like just think of how much plastic is used in food production and packaging. If you can get like a bunch of spinach versus like a big box of spinach, you know, if you can always be just at least conscientious of that and trying to minimize your plastic waste as it is, you know, related to food, that's a really important thing too. So wanted to throw that in before we get too deep in the cooking, because that's part of the sustainability aspect too. So yes, the Doral Yard is open. It is so beautiful, you guys. I really hope that you all come and visit us if you can in Miami, or eventually someday when you're visiting Miami. But it's just like one of the most beautiful spaces you could imagine. It's nothing like the Winwood Yard, like physically, but you still get that like sense of place there. Like you really can walk in and feel at home right away. And it's a really special vibe. So we would love to see all your friendly faces there with masks. We would love to see you from the eyes up, except when you're eating. But we do have like a ton of open space in a tent that's open air, and it's just like feels very open and spacious and safe and lovely. So please make your way there. And then of course, Della. What did you say, Maddie?
He gave us a virtual tour when we went live on Instagram. So that's on our IGTV if you want a sneak preview.
Yes. Yeah. It's, and, you know, go on our Instagram and our Facebook and all that jazz, because you can see pictures and you can get a sense of what it feels like. It's only in phase 1. It's the food hall right now. And then we'll be growing into the phase 2 where we have like the actual yard with the music venue and the trucks and the, and all of that stuff. Trina is texting me. Trina, I can't read your text right now if you're watching. Trina's our marketing and she's giving me messages, but we can follow up with all of the great information and a great email afterwards. So anyways, guys, definitely come and visit us. And in terms of Thanksgiving, you had asked about that, Maddie, and the reason that I love to cook Thanksgiving, and I'm super excited to share all of these recipes with you, which we will be sending a follow-up email with all the recipes. So don't get too, you know, in the weeds tonight as we're cooking. This is just for fun and practice. But Thanksgiving is a really special holiday to me. My dad actually passed away 20 years ago on Thanksgiving. This will be the 20th anniversary. And while that's really sad, it also was kind of like a good reminder of like what gratitude really is, and like how much we need to be grateful every single day for what we have and who we have and the time that we share together. So whether it's in person or on the phone or virtually or however we do that this year or any year, you know, we can't always be together for whatever reason, you know, distance or work or life schedules or whatever. You know, right now we have a different unique situation, but we just need to be connected in any way that we can, and remember to never, you know, take days for granted with people that we love. So it's a good time for me to honor my family and honor my dad, and remember that, you know, this is just a great time to be together however we can. And also, like, when it comes to cooking, I really kind of found my my love for cooking, I think, that day, because all I could think of to do when that happened was just get to the kitchen and start preparing food for my family. And I cooked all day, and it was really like how I got grounded and how I coped and how I found you know, that connection with food and people all kind of in one. And so that's always been my holiday. I'm able to cook and bring that love to people and connect that way. So I hope that you guys can use these recipes or your own family tradition recipes or whatever recipes you love to cook at home, and really kind of like bring that love and joy to your family and friends this year or in years to come, however you do that. So that's my story.
Thank you. And thank you for doing this event with us. It means so much to have you here and sharing that wealth of knowledge and love and just, I don't know, your story. It really means a lot to us.
Thank you. So with that said, we're gonna do some side dishes today. So you guys can do a vegan Thanksgiving if you want. You can do regular Thanksgiving if you want, and have these as some delicious sides. We are, you know, at Doral Yard, we're just really into yummy food and creating great ways to produce good food and serve it to people. So this is really on behalf of the Doral Yard, but also tying in della bowls. I am going to give plant-based options for everything as well. So you can do kind of whatever spin on this that you want. So we are going to make roasted butternut squash with fennel, za'atar spice, pistachios, and fresh herbs. Very simple, straightforward. It just all goes in the oven and then gets tossed with the nuts and herbs at the end. Za'atar spice, lo and behold, they now sell that at Publix. So you can pretty much find it anywhere. Of course, like Whole Foods or Fresh Market probably would have it. There's also a local purveyor that I am blanking on her name right now. But if you're interested, you can always DM us and ask what the name is. I'll think of it later. But she's an awesome local purveyor that makes her own za'atar spice, and it's my absolute favorite. So we'll do that recipe. We'll also do shaved Brussels sprouts with shiitake mushrooms, shallots, and sage in brown butter. And while I love roasted whole Brussels sprouts, that's a little bit like, you know, predictable. So this is a little bit more unpredictable and a little bit of a surprise for people when they get Brussels sprouts done in this way. So I'll give you some options for that as well. And then creamy cauliflower risotto with rosemary, which is just so delicious and delightful. And kids will eat it because they think it's rice and it's a little bit creamy and yummy. And you're just giving them cauliflower in the end. And it's just a crowd pleaser. People get really excited about it. So we're going to do those three. I did also want to start by saying a few things about ingredients. Oh, I also want to say, Maddie, if you see any questions come up in the chat that you want me to answer, like on the spot, feel free, interrupt me. It will not slow me down.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, we don't have any questions or chat messages yet. So those.
Okay.
Helpful. I do have the polls too. Do we want to do this now real quick?
Oh, sure. Yes. Go ahead and do the polls and then we'll get started.
Yes, we just have a couple questions. Since we have the webinar feature now, we can ask where everyone's tuning in from and kind of what dietary restrictions you have, why you have them. So I'm going to launch this poll. I did a practice run, so I should know how to have this work. But if you guys want to answer these so we can kind of see where everyone's at and interact with you guys as much as we can. Julie, I'm allowing panelists to vote as well if you would like to participate in the poll.
Okay.
So there are, I believe there should be 6 questions. 1 is where are you tuning in from? 2 is what are your dietary restrictions? 3 is why do you have these dietary restrictions? And 4, have you ever had a della bowl? If so, which one is your favorite? 5, what is your favorite holiday? And then 6, how you found out about the event. So the poll is, attendees are now viewing the questions. We have 1 person has voted. I'll give us a couple more seconds. 2, all right, cool. We're getting a little bit more participation. Don't worry, guys. After the poll, we will get cooking. I'm excited. I'm making, like I said, the cauliflower risotto, which I totally could have had my mom make as a kid because I was one of those anti-vegetablers. Only recently have gotten out of that phase, but I'm excited.
So Maddie, I want to tell you something because I was just doing your poll. I'm not like a vegetarian or pescatarian, although I eat mostly plant-based. And I think also a good thing to be might be a qualitarian. Have you ever heard that term?
No, what is that?
So it's like, I don't really eat like beef or chicken very much, but if it's like something that somebody made for me and I know that it's like made really well, or it's a heritage meat, or it was like hunted or something like that, I'm more likely to eat it than just like, I'm not going to like go out for that food. But if it's presented and it's, okay, high quality and farm, raised or whatever. Yeah. So I think that's also, a great thing to at least acknowledge, because you can be like very hyper local and farm to table and like really sustainably minded for the environment and your health, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to fall into this like category. Like not everything is binary. You are this or you are that. You know what I mean?
Oh, I had not heard of that term. I would definitely include that in the future. And that's definitely what I am. And I
Me too.
I have a lot of room to improve when it comes to sustainability in terms of my diet, which is why I'm so excited about this event.
But people are always wanting to like put people in a category. As soon as they see me eat, they're like, oh, you're a vegetarian. And I say, no, I'm not. Oh, well, then you must be a pescatarian. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, if I want chicken taquitos because I feel like chicken taquitos, I'm going to eat that, Yeah. But for the most part, I'm going to make sure that what I put in my body is like very conscientious,
Oh, qualitarian. I like that.
Yeah.
80% voted. So I'm going to end this and share the results with you guys real quick. Share results. So we've got a lot, majority Miami, but really close East Coast, West Coast groupings. I kind of made these groupings a little haphazardly, so I'm sorry if you're not represented in this, but I tried. Oh, and 3 international, so that's awesome.
Nice.
Put in the chat where you're from, because we're definitely interested. Dietary restrictions, none. That's majority, and honestly, that's kind of where I'm at now, working on improving. My decade resolution is going vegan. I gave myself decade resolutions in 2020, so I was like, by 2020, I got these done. We got some vegetarian, vegan, and other, maybe the other qualitarians. Reasons, we've got allergies, animal rights, the environment, health reasons, and NA, and della bowls. Oh, we've got some So 12 people haven't had a della bowl, but we also have a couple people with their favorites. People that are local, definitely try it out. I also need to go to della. It's been so long. Favorite holiday?
Everyone will get a discount code, so stay tuned for that, Maddie. Everyone will get a discount.
Yes, I'm excited for that. That'll come at the end. And then holidays, we got a lot of Christmas people. Oh, we got 2 Halloween people out there. That's me. I love Halloween. And then how they found out about the event. Oh, a big group was other. If you guys are other, please let us know, because we'd love to know how we'd reach you so we can reach more people. We got a few people through Della Bowls and a few people through DFO. Awesome. So international people, we want to know where you are. People who found out from other sources, we want to know how you found out. But anyways, that's about all we had for the intro. So I'm excited to hand it over to Julie to start leading the class. I will spotlight her video and then monitor the Q&A and chat. So yeah, that's about it. Feel free to post things and I'll make sure to communicate to Julie.
Awesome. So you guys, a few things. I was just talking about quality. A few things you just want to make sure you have in your kitchen is high quality olive oil. This is one that you can pretty much get anywhere that I think is just a great at-home kitchen olive oil. You want to make sure when you get your olive oil that it's like from one location. If it says that it's sourced from like Tunisia, Italy, Greece, and wherever, it might not be that high of quality and it might not be all olive oil. So just make sure like California ranches are great. And then you always want to make sure it's like kept away from heat. So don't keep it right next to your stove because it goes bad. Also, I'm a big fan of ground salt. This is Himalayan pink salt, and especially ground pepper. When you buy pepper on the shelf and it's pre-ground, it actually like starts turning rancid and it has a kind of a funky flavor. And if you start using fresh ground all the time in your food, you'll notice a huge quality difference. So this, I just bought at Publix today, and it's glass, although it does have plastic, but you can refill it, which is really nice. You can get like pepper, corns in bulk and then just continue to refill it. And it's just convenient and nice. And then high quality salt is important too.
I was gonna add,
so that's
at Verde Market, they have refillable sea salt and pepper. That's
yes. Yeah. So I know, so good. So you can get these little containers for like $3 and then use them for forever, just getting refills. So, start with high quality ingredients. Also, equipment is really important. I'm not in my home kitchen right now, so I can't really like show you a lot of my favorite equipment. But if you're looking for good equipment, we do have an Amazon store for the Doral Yard. And I basically picked all my favorite things and put it in one place. So if you're interested to know like what my recommended knife is or skillets or whatever it is as we're going today, just make a note to check out our Amazon store. We just basically did it to help you guys through these classes to make that really, really easy. Okay, so first we are going to do the roasted butternut squash. Okay, so I'm gonna just tilt this here so you guys can see what I'm doing. All right. So I pre-cut the butternut squash because it takes a while. I peeled it and then I just cut it into cubes. They're not perfect. I have pieces that look like that and pieces that look like that, and it's all good as long as they're roughly the same size so that they cook the same. And I cut these earlier, so I did hold them in water so they didn't get dried out. I also cut my fennel, and I'll show you how I did this, just because fennel is something that people don't use very often. It looks like this. It's like a bulb and it has these like, stems on it like that. You might also find it as anise in the grocery store. And this grows under the ground. And so you just want to like trim all the edges off, take the core out, which is like this part here. You cut that out. And then you just slice down like this with your knife, as thin as you can. I'll just show you a sample here. So you want to just like make sure you hold your fingernails out of the way and just slice down like so. So anise is kind of like a black licorice flavor. It's really, it's actually an astringent for your digestive system. It's really, really good for you. So if you eat it raw, you can put it in salads, you can pickle it, ferment it, or you can roast it, saute it. It's amazing. Also like or just marinated in olive oil and lemon juice and salt. My friend did that for me the other night at dinner. So it just was like a salad that looked like this, and it was so lovely. That's fennel. The top, since I know Maddie loves to talk about how to not waste food, a lot of people would just throw the tops away, but I actually made a soup today and I threw the tops in the stock. You can also cut the tops and pickle those. And then we're gonna use this as garnish on top of our final product. So I saved some aside. Za'atar spice, this is the one that I got at Publix today since I was getting everything at once at one store. So it's za'atar spice, and it's a mix of sumac and sesame seeds and delicious things. And it's not really a traditional Thanksgiving flavor, but it's, you know, it's going to really tie in and make this whole dish really interesting and different without deviating too far from the traditional Thanksgiving flavors. Oh, another place I wanted to tell you about is Spice House, one of my favorite places to get spices. It's online, Spice House. I also have some chopped mint we're going to throw on at the very end, and then some pistachios, which I pre-chopped. So this one is like so easy. I'm just going to add my butternut squash onto the pan here. Take out all the seeds. So just some butternut squash, some of that sliced fennel, add in a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt. Make sure that your za'atar, just double check. If it has salt, you might not need to add salt. I don't know if this one does or not, so I added a little bit. And then I'm just gonna sprinkle the za'atar on. Now, if you can't find za'atar, you don't like it, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but maybe some people just don't. You can always use like fresh thyme or dried thyme, or Bragg 21 Salute is a nice stand-in for an herb mix. So that this is kind of versatile. Just the za'atar is the piece that goes in this recipe, but you can interchange it however you like. All right, so that's it, guys. We're just gonna pop that in a 400-degree oven. And we'll wait for that to cook. Does anyone have any questions yet?
Yes, we have one question that they couldn't find the za'atar spice. What else can they use?
Yes, so that was what I was just talking about. So one of my other favorite kind of all seasoning spices is Bragg 21 Salute. And it's so good on anything, like all vegetables, potatoes. It would be great on this. It's got some like red chili and rosemary and garlic and oregano. I think it has 21 things in it, hence the name. But that's a really great one to keep on hand all the time. But if you just have like some garlic powder and dried thyme and dried oregano and stuff like that, that would totally work as well. But if you can find some za'atar spice, I recommend it. So voila. What?
Melissa asked, how long does it cook for?
So let's see, in the recipe, it says for about 30 minutes. I think I did a small batch the first time and it went faster. I would just check it every 10 minutes or so. You want it to get like kind of soft and oozy and kind of starting to caramelize, kind of like that. So this is done. We did this earlier today. And so you can see the fennel is like nice and kind of glistening and cooked. And the butternut squash, you can just easily poke it with a knife so you know that it's done. And it's just kind of like starting to turn brown. You don't want it black, you just want it to be brown. So at this point, when it's done, is when I would add the chopped pistachios. So I just did that with a knife. They're super rough chopped, like there's some crumbly parts, some big parts. And so I'm just gonna like lightly sprinkle those over. I'm also gonna add some of that mint, and it's very rough chopped as well. You can see, I don't like cutting my herbs so much that they get, you know, kind of like mashed and juicy. I keep them very fresh. So there's that. And then of course I told you we are going to use some of this fennel frond. So I'm just going to roughly chop that up. Fresh fennel tastes very different from cooked fennel. So this is going to add a very distinctive layer than the cooked fennel. So we're going to add some of that as well. And then I also happen to have some chopped parsley here. We're going to add some of that as well. You see how much green is going on there? And then we're just going to like toss that all together like so. And then if you have like a dish that you're going to be serving it in at Thanksgiving, you'll want to just, you can do this part at home if you wanted to, so that you're like all ready to go when you get to wherever you're going, or if you're not going anywhere and you're just staying home like you probably should be this year. You can just do it like this and then pop it in the oven right before you're going to eat it. Let me wash my hands so I can show you that. But it's so beautiful. And another thing that would make this really nice too is if you happen to have some pomegranates or see some at the store, or like the little palm seeds, you can put those on top too. And it's just so beautiful and colorful and fragrant and delicious. So that is that. Oops, that's that one.
Amazing.
Oh, I'm just tasting it right now and it's so good. So good. All right. When you guys make it, I want to see the pictures of it. That's what you're going for. Okay. And Maddie, I'm talking to you.
Yes. I need to make that
see.
one. I'm making the sprouts tomorrow.
Okay.
Risotto tonight. And then I need that
right.
next on the list.
Perfect. All right. So next we're going to do the creamy cauliflower risotto. Now you can buy cauliflower already riced. I actually did this one because I couldn't find it already riced. All I did was cut cauliflower. I trimmed it and cut it and put it in the blender and just pulsed it. I used a Ninja. I could also have used a Vitamix, and I just pulsed it, and it just like turns it into this beautiful fine rice like mixture. I also diced up some onion and some garlic.
The rice cauliflower is frozen, so I had to thaw it out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that works. Yeah, at Trader Joe's and Whole Foods, usually you can find it already riced in a bag. But this was super easy if you have a good blender. It was really easy, actually. And then I have some minced rosemary here. I have some butter.
I have a question about the first recipe. Anita said we have sweet potatoes, fennel. What was the other green in there?
So it was roasted it was butternut squash, not sweet potatoes, but you could definitely use sweet potatoes, or you could do a mix of both. That would work great. So let's see, hold on. I had fennel and I roasted that first. And when it came out, then I added the fresh herbs, and I added some of the fennel tops that I had reserved, some of the mint leaves that I had chopped, and some of the parsley and pistachios. So it's like you cook the cooked part and then you remove it and you add the fresh part and then you mix it all together and then you put it in a bowl and pop it in the oven right before serving. You want the mint to be like really fresh, which is why you don't roast it or cook it. It just kind of goes in at the end and then gets heated. Okay, so we're gonna do our cauliflower rice. So you can use butter and cream, or you can use olive oil and nut milk. So you can do like an oat milk or something like this. So let's see if you can see what I'm doing. All right, so I'm actually gonna do 2 varieties. So I'm turning this stove on pretty warm, and I'm gonna do one with butter and cream and one with olive oil and oat milk. So that no matter what kind of food you like, you can see how we're gonna do it. All right, I'm actually gonna see if I can move this laptop right over here so we can see better.
You just put a little bit of olive oil on the skillet. Oh, you're doing 2 versions.
I'm doing 2 versions, yeah. So we're gonna let it get nice and warm. Okay. It's kind of gonna be on like a medium high. Now, for those of you watching at home, if I happen to mess anything up, I've never actually cooked on this stove before, so it's kind of funny. We're gonna hope for the best. Okay, so we have our butter here and our olive oil here, and I'm just gonna add. Whoa. Okay. There we go. So we're gonna add our onions. Let those start sauteing. So this one is gonna be our plant-based version. This one is gonna be our more decadent version with the butter and cream. Okay. Then we're gonna add in a little bit of garlic. Now, just a note about garlic. Even when a recipe says to add the garlic first, I never do, because there's such a high chance that that garlic will burn before you even get your onions in there. Like, see, this one's cooking a lot faster than this one. And if I had thrown my garlic in first, it probably would have burned right away. And that is gonna ruin your dish. So you just wanna make sure that you either add it at the same time as other foods or add it like slightly after. Nothing is worse than burnt garlic. Okay. So we've got these starting to brown. We're really going for more of a translucent, but this back stove is cooking real fast. Okay. So here we have our rice, our cauliflower rice. I'm gonna add that in there. So I'm gonna saute that up in there.
This is so fun. This is my first like cooking class, honestly, ever.
Are you cooking along, Maddie?
I'm cooking along. This is
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. All right, so now we've got our 2 rices going on. Gonna add a little bit of rosemary to each one. To pinch. Now you could add other herbs too, but rosemary just makes this so nice.
What else other than rosemary? What other herbs do you think?
Yeah, you could add chopped oregano. You could add minced thyme. I used to do, this is one of my recipes that I used when I was at the Palms Hotel many years ago. And people just went crazy for it. And it had rosemary. So I've always stuck with that as the herb. But I think any of those like hardy, wintry herbs would work.
Do you like pick off the little pieces? I've never used rosemary before.
Yeah, as soon as I get this cooking, I'll show you. I just don't want to step away yet, but I saved a few sprigs so that if we had that question, I could let you know. Okay, so I've got some organic half and half here, and I'm just gonna add some in, as well as some veggie stock. And don't worry, you guys, you'll get recipes. I'm just kind of winging it because I have like smaller batches going on here. But you basically just kind of want to cover it till it's, you can like just see it's kind of sticking out. It's not so much, it's just kind of like just covered to the top. Now on this one, I'm gonna add, this is some oat milk. It's not sweetened, it's not vanilla, it doesn't have any sugar in it, it's kind of creamy. So I added some of that, and again, some of this veg stock. Now with veg stock, you definitely also want to make sure that you're checking the labels, because sometimes vegetable broth has some funny, weird things in it. So this is a low sodium one, so I can kind of manage my own salt situation in these recipes. And then it has all organic ingredients, and it doesn't have any weird like preservatives or anything. So I'm just gonna like let these chill. I'm gonna let them cook on medium and kind of just simmer away here. And we're gonna check back on them in about 5 minutes. See how they're doing.
I bought the cream and broth and totally do not have the skills to do that. So I'm just to see.
Okay, here, I'll tell you what it says. If you're using 1 whole bag of cauliflower rice.
I have the recipes too.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll tell everyone else that it was about 1.5 cups of stock and about 3/4 cup of half and half, or nut cream. And then we're gonna add a little bit more as we go. We're just gonna see how that cooks down. We want it to really like soak it all up. So this is kind of what you're going for. This one is just runs really high. We're learning. Okay, so as those are cooking, I'm gonna show you the rosemary. All right, so rosemary. All right, rosemary is super easy to grow. You guys see, this is what I was talking about. This plastic is so lame for how much rosemary I got in there. You could grow a whole rosemary bush so easily in most parts of the country. I mean, Miami is, it's so easy to grow rosemary. So that is a great way to be more sustainable in your kitchen also, is to grow some of your own herbs. Rosemary, sage, thyme, and oregano are like the easiest if you want to try it. So with these, Maddie, to answer your question, I just kind of like pull backwards on the stem and remove the leaves. Okay. And then the tops, I kind of like pull those off. So one more time, you just kind of like pull backwards, opposite the direction, to get as much as you can off. And then you just, I don't know what's going on here on my cutting board. Okay, and then you just kind of like ball them all up, and you just kind of chop them up. You kind of just like roughly chop them, and then you can go back with your knife and chop them finer. They don't have to be super fine and tiny, but you do want to get rid of like the leaves. You don't want any big leaves like this, because that's just not very nice in your mouth. So you just chop it up the best you can so that it looks something like that.
Okay.
Cool.
Put in a couple leaves at the start.
That's all right. That's all right. So I have some leftover rice. You could, if it hadn't been frozen already, you could freeze this. You could also make a tabbouleh salad with the leftover cauliflower rice if you had some tomatoes and parsley and cucumbers, and mix that in with some like olive oil and lemon juice, and it's really nice, a really nice salad. So FYI. All right, let's come back over here. Do we have any questions going on, Maddie, or are you too busy cooking? You can't check the chat.
So we've got, can you use already chopped rosemary, like the seasoning container?
Yeah, I mean, if it's like dried rosemary, you just need to use a tiny bit, and you still should like kind of break it up and chop it up. See, I have this big piece of rosemary I'm gonna take out that's like bigger than I want in there. So these are nicely cooking along. You can see the difference in color because these had gotten a bit browner to begin with. And then also I added oat milk and more vegetable broth, where this is like very white and creamy. So, you know, yours might look a little bit different at home depending on how you do yours, but it's all gonna be delicious. I'll tell you that much. I'm gonna add a little bit more milk to this guy. We're gonna just let these keep cooking on medium. I have them on like a 5 out of 10 right now. So that's what we're doing there. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next recipe here, which is shaved Brussels sprouts with shiitake mushrooms, shallots, sage, and butter. Okay, this one is one of my faves because while I don't eat a lot of butter, there's something about browning butter. Now it's not burnt butter, it's browning butter, and you want it to get like toasty to where it smells like nutty in your pan. And it just, that with sage, that is such a special combination. It also goes very well with butternut squash as a side note, that flavor combination. But today we're gonna use it with Brussels sprouts. So I've got my unsalted natural butter. I've got my sage. And I know you're gonna ask this, Maddie, so I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, sage leaves, to cut them, you're gonna pull the sage leaves off. Sage is also very, very easy to grow. Okay, you take your sage leaves and kind of stack them. And then you just thinly slice them like this. Always using the claw, guys, keeping the fingers out of the way, using the claw like so. And then you can just do like a couple little chops to just break them up. Okay, so that's that. We have our shallots, which I just sliced thin, and you can slice them long ways or sideways or any way. You just want to slice them thin. And then this is really the Brussels sprout situation. Okay, so when I roast Brussels sprouts, I'll just do like this, right? I'll like toss them in olive oil and I'll roast them, and they're really delicious. But like I said, they're kind of predictable and not that, you know, unique or interesting. So let's try this instead. And take off like the bad parts. And then you want to trim the base. So you have your Brussels sprout and you set it up like that. So it's on the flat part, and hold your fingers out of the way, and you just slice them down. You don't have to be super thin, but like the thinner, the better. So that's kind of what we're going for, is like this nice little thin bit. So let's try a few of those. And what this is gonna do when you're cooking is these are gonna like break apart and turn really ribbony and delicious. So I've already prepared a whole bowl of these. So you don't need a ton of them. You know, this is a lot. I think maybe like 10 or 12 for a portion for two is fine. But remember, you're just gonna trim the bases, shave, like that. All right. So I have some shiitake mushrooms. Yes, button mushrooms or baby bellas would work too, but shiitakes have a really bold, earthy flavor to them, and they're also very, very good for you. So I really like to use shiitakes. And that's really about all we need for this recipe. We need the butter, the sage, the shallots, the shiitakes, and we need a little bit of white wine if you have it. If you don't, it's not that big of a deal, but if you have some white wine, which I always do, thank goodness, then we're gonna use it. Okay, so I have my pan warm, like on a medium. I'm gonna add in my butter, nice big pat of butter, and get it going on. Okay, so already my pan was really warm, so I can see that it's kind of turning brown. It almost looks like little brown specks are happening in there. Now this doesn't work as well on a non-stick pan. It's better in a stainless pan. I don't know if you can really see what I'm looking at, but it looks like little brown specks, and it smells very nutty. So when you're at that point,
You can kind of see.
Okay, when you're at that point, that's when you add in the sage, the chopped sage, and it's gonna kind of almost like sizzle up. It kind of like, you know, just fries up in there, and you wanna just give it a second in there, and then immediately you're gonna add those shallots and turn it down to low. This one, you kind of have to manage the heat a little bit. You never really want it like too low, but you definitely don't want to start burning your sage and butter and stuff in there. Okay, so I'm cooking the shallots, and I'm gonna let those cook for a couple minutes till they get a little bit softer, not so hard. I'm gonna add a tiny bit of olive oil just to kind of help it cook. I don't want the butter to burn, so I added a tiny bit of olive oil, which I do believe is in the recipe. Now I'm just gonna throw in as many Brussels sprouts and shiitake mushrooms that will fit in this pan. If I was cooking this for Thanksgiving for a little group, I would probably use a much bigger pan. You don't wanna like fill it, you don't wanna overcrowd it, but you do wanna, you know, use as big of a pan as you can so that it really can like cook nicely in there. All right, so you can see what's going on there. They're starting to get pretty soft. At this point, I'm gonna add in some of those Brussels. Let's say like halfway up the pan. You don't wanna go much more than that. And then we're gonna stir those in to get them all nice and combined there. Really like make sure they're all coated and covered. Delicious. So good. Just keep turning it. Kind of get it more back up on a medium high. You want to hear that sizzling the whole time, not like spitting sizzling, but just that nice kind of even shh sound. That's a good sound. If you're not hearing that sound, turn your heat up. Okay, so cooking is really all about the five senses, right? It's like you want to really pay attention with your eyes. You want to smell so that nothing is burning. You want to listen to that beautiful sizzle going on. Your feel, you know, you can feel the heat coming off the food, but it's not burning. It's not smoking. It's just like nice steaming. All right, so this one is looking pretty good in the back. I'm gonna add a little salt to everything right now. What salt is gonna do here in these veggies is start to bring the water out of them, which is gonna help them cook. The salt will release some of that natural liquid in there. Okay. And then I'm gonna use, I'm gonna add the shiitake mushrooms and then just add a little bit of white wine. And in terms of the ratio here, I'd say like maybe 2/3 of that is Brussels and then 1/3 is shiitakes. And the shiitakes are gonna kind of scrunch way down. They're gonna let out that water and they're gonna really shrink up in there. Now this recipe is delightful because it's very versatile. Like you could serve it like this, like we're doing, or you could make it almost like a little casserole and put it in a casserole dish and cover it with like breadcrumbs and Parmesan cheese and pop it in the oven when you get somewhere. And it looks like it has a, you know, a topping on it. And when you scoop into it and it's these beautiful veggies underneath, wow. That's a really nice way to serve it. And then also it really pairs well with a little truffle oil. So if you want it to taste like really fancy and sophisticated, giving it a little drizzle of that at the end is a really lovely touch. So we're gonna add a little bit of white wine. Oh, hear that sound. That is the sound you want it to make. If it doesn't, turn that heat up. It's like, it's so good. All right. Do we have any questions about this one so far, Maddie?
Nothing yet. Guys, feel free to use either the Q&A box or the chat. I'm checking both of those if you guys have any questions.
Okay, so this vegan option is looking good. It's pretty much ready here. So you can see it's really soaked up all of the liquid. You should taste it and it should be, you know, kind of soft like rice. It shouldn't be mushy, but it definitely shouldn't have that cauliflower crunch anymore. And remember, this is the vegan option, so it did turn a little bit more brown, where this version is almost ready too. And it's really like white and creamy, more like a risotto that you might be used to. So either way, it's gonna taste delicious. Taste it for salt and pepper. At this point, if you're not doing a vegan one, you could even add a little bit of grated Parmesan cheese if you wanted to. I'm also gonna add some ground pepper. Now remember, the grinding of the pepper is gonna give it such a nice flavor and freshness. And also it's really good for you, releasing those yummy essential oils out of that pepper is really has a lot of health benefits too. So then when you're ready, turn your stove top off and let's see, I'm gonna get a new bowl here.
We have a question. We're from Maria wondering what the second ingredient was for, or no, what the first ingredient was for the cauliflower dish. Oh, so this, I think she's asking what the rice cauliflower is.
So it's just cauliflower. Okay, so here's the finished product. And I will get to that question in just a second, but I'm going to just add some fresh parsley that I had pre-chopped because that just makes it lovely. So that's how you would serve that. And if you were making this, you could actually make everything ahead of time. and then quickly heat it when you're ready to serve it on a skillet. So that's the non-vegan one. And then we'll do the plant-based one here in this bowl. And this is perfect because in case you didn't catch it at the beginning, I'm making dinner for Della and her fiance and my kids. So there will be something for everyone. So those are the two versions there. I'm gonna add some parsley onto this one as well. Okay, we're gonna check on this. Okay, so the riced cauliflower is just cauliflower that I pulsed in a blender, and you can easily look up how to rice cauliflower, and there's a ton of blogs and recipes on it, or you can buy it already riced. They sell it at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, and it's just cauliflower that's been pulsed to be the consistency of rice. Okay, so this one is looking really great. I'm gonna add in some parsley there as well. And this is pretty much how it should look. It's just, like I said, really unique, really different, very unexpected. So if you tell somebody you're bringing Brussels sprouts and then you show up with this beautiful array of Brussels sprouts, they're gonna be really surprised. And like I said, you could put it into a casserole pan, and that's going to be really beautiful as well. And a really nice surprise to see like a crust on something and then break into it and have these beautiful ribbony Brussels sprouts. So you could definitely do that with just olive oil instead of butter. You're just not going to get that same like browning, nutty kind of lovely aspect to it, but it will be really good as well. So it's not less than, it's just different. But this is what you're looking for here with these Brussels sprouts.
And we have, so, I was gonna say, we have one more question about the cauliflower real quick.
Yeah.
Asking, this is my mom, asking if chicken stock can be used in place of the vegetable stock for the cauliflower.
Yeah, of course. Chicken stock is great also, just in the interest of keeping this plant-based. I did not use chicken stock, but I definitely would. There's no problem with that at all. So really, I mean, these recipes are all just kind of, they're guidelines, right? They're like roadmaps, but you at home can make them however you want. There's actually another secret ingredient that is definitely not plant-based in any way that sometimes I add to the Brussels sprouts. Do you want to know what it is, Maddie, or should I not say it because it's definitely not plant-based?
I mean, qualitarian, if it's quality, I mean, maybe we'll just know when it's up to us to decide if we're going to use it.
Okay, so
remember, we did the poll, and there were a lot of people with dietary restrictions.
Yes. So, so if you have a really good quality bacon, like Miami Smokers or something like that, or proper sausages, and you want to crisp up some little bacon renderings, you could either like put them on the top, or you could add it in and mix it in. But that is also a really nice addition if you don't want it to be plant-based. So this is like the vegetarian version. You could do vegan, you could do a smattering of bacon, which is totally up to you. Here's this one. This one is definitely vegan. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And then this was the one that you could make vegetarian or vegan, depending on your lifestyle and your audience.
Yeah, and we have a question. Kathy asked if we added stock to the cream-based risotto, which we did.
Yes. Yes.
Adding the cauliflower.
Yes.
Want to see my final product?
That's so beautiful, Maddie. I'm so proud of you. Does it taste good? Did you taste it?
I haven't tasted it yet. It's very hot. Wait, let me try it. I got a fork.
I mean, we did this pretty quick. So if it's not quite ready, you could always throw it back in the pan.
Oh, it's hot. It's so hot.
Yeah. Did anyone else finish any of these recipes during this time and they want to report back?
Oh, it's kind
Oh
of
my God, it's so good. Maddie, mine's really good.
the risotto.
Like so good. Mm-hmm.
Mine's spicy, and I think I put a lot of pepper in. It's a little spicy, but it is delicious. I think I have, again, I'm not really sure what exact
The
consistency.
vegan one turned out really good too. Super good. A little brown, but it tastes really good.
Let's see, we got some comments. Caroline said the risotto is delicious. We've got angle 4 at sanbrunocable.com. All the recipes look delicious and totally doable. Someone under YY said so good.
Good. I like hearing all of these comments.
So good and good for you. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm so excited to make the sprouts with shiitake mushrooms tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys, if you do make them, we'd love to see them. I don't know if you want to like hashtag the Doral Yard or Della Bowls. We'll definitely see them if you post them, if you tag us. And then also just a reminder, get out your pens and paper, guys, because these codes are important. We are going to have a discount on a bowl for you if you go to Della Bowls this week. I think it's 10% off, and the code is Della10. Let me check my text to make sure that's what it is. Oh, no, sorry. It's not Della10. It's class 10. Class 10 for the discount. You have to go to Della Bowls at the Doral Yard, though. It's not for any of our delivery locations. You've got to go there. And then we have a cookbook. We have an ebook, which is really, really beautiful. It's got a ton of mix and match recipes that are very, very, very simple, very easy to make with minimal equipment, and really easy to find easy to find ingredients. And it's called Della Bowls at Home. And it's on Amazon or it's on our website. And I think if you go through our website, which is dellabowls.com, you can get a discount at holidays 15 for a cookbook discount. So we will send all of this information to you in an email, so you don't actually have to remember all of it. But if you just want to jot it down so that you do remember that there are discounts on bowls and cookbooks, that's great to know. And Maddie, I'll hand it back over to you.
I'm just over here busy eating my
I love it.
But yeah, we'll follow up via email tomorrow with discounts, and I will also send out the recording to this. I'll put it on our YouTube page, but it should be posted to our Facebook because this was all just streaming live. And we'll also send Julie's contact info, or if you guys want to reach out to me, I can forward anything to her if you have outstanding questions. Oh, I forgot. We do have 2 final poll questions. We have 17 people still here. So if they're paying attention, I'm going to launch these polls about potential future events. Let me see. No, not beginning poll. I need to launch the second poll. Okay, here we go. Launch poll. So what was your favorite dish? Or if you didn't make it, what dish are you most excited to try or make? And then, so out of the 3 we made today. And then the second one, to inspire us for future virtual events, what would you like to learn more about? And you can select more than one option for this. We've got Della Bowls recipes, plant-based desserts, cocktails and mocktails, holiday cooking, or other. And if other, feel free to put your interest in the chat. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm really interested to know what these come back with, Maddie. I love these polls. They're such a good idea.
Thank you. I'm still eating. I think I can save these polls too when the event is over. Let's see. We've got, cauliflower risotto is really winning right now. I got 8 people out of 12 that have voted that are interested in the risotto.
Wow. Yeah, and it's so easy. That's the best part. It is so easy.
Yeah. If I can do it, guys. We've got a lot of people interested in Della Bowls, 10 out of 13.
Awesome. Like to hear that.
A lot of people interested in holiday cooking. I'm personally interested in the cocktails and mocktails. I haven't done any dabbling in making any beverages.
Ooh. All right, we'll have to get some of that going on.
Cool. I'm going to screenshot the poll so that we have the results if we want to explore them later. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Look out for our follow-up email. I hope you enjoyed. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email and I will either answer them or pass them on to Julie. This was fun. In terms of future events, we are still trying to do at least one virtual month. So I'm kind of planning a sustainable company holiday shopping expo for December. So look out for that. If you have friends at sustainable brands, they can reach out to me about participating. But that's about it. Thank you so much,
Yay,
Julie.
thank you guys.
Hope Della and the family love the meals. And yeah, that's about it.
All right, see you guys soon. Thanks so much for joining.
Bye.
Watch for those recipes. Bye.
Bye, everyone.